Well, hello everyone. It's getting close to the holidays, right? So that's why we're here. We're going to talk about de-stressing for the holidays. Well, I know most of you have learned about this Zoom meeting through the Emotional Health Summit group. And I know there were a lot of people outside the United States in that group. So type in the chat box if you're outside the United States. In fact, just type in the chat box where you happen to be looking at this Zoom meeting today. Now, I know I am from Alabama, so that's in the south of the United States. And I always say that basically in Alabama, we have all four seasons in within 7 days. so, so that's kind of funny. But anyway, I am just looking to share my screen here so that we can get this meeting started. Oh, let's see. Hang on one second. Okay. All right, hang on one second. I am going in and out here. Okay. There we go. Now I am sharing my screen. Can you all see my screen? Let me put this on so you can see it a little bigger. Here we go. Okay. Welcome, everyone. This is Let's De-Stress for the Holidays. Look at this picture with you. I mean, I can just throw my head back in my arms, and it's like I can feel what she's feeling. Give me a word, type in the chat box, a word that you think describes what she feels right now. I think I might use carefree, excited, just free. I can feel it. I can close my eyes, y'all, and I can just feel it. Well, there have been times that I have felt this way. And in all transparency, there is definitely been some times that I have not felt this way. So, here's the question that I would like to ask you. If I could tell you how to feel what she feels in only about 60 seconds, would you have any interest in learning that secret or being able to do that? Type in yes in the chat box. Well, I don't know about you, but as you're typing, I can tell you in the holidays, sometimes that picture does not describe me. So, yes, if there is a way that I can get out of all the stress of what I'm feeling at the time, then yes, I definitely would want to feel that again. And oh my gosh, if I could feel that within 60 seconds, yeah, I'm good with that. Well, I'm Gail Williams, and I have been a retired nurse for about 3 years now, but I actually worked about 43 years. A little bit of my background: at age 11, I slept many nights on a blanket beside my mother's bed, who was dying of cancer. That's when I decided I was going to be a nurse. Well, she lived about 2 years after this, I started sleeping on the bed. Sleeping on the floor on a cot, as they called it. She was in a Catholic hospital, and so therefore I was, the nuns would give me a blanket. I would take my turn, and I spent many nights sleeping on a blanket in the floor. Well, after she died, I found that I was waking up in the middle of the night and doing a lot of crying. I had no idea why. So I asked the pastor of my church what he thought. So he did these psychological tests on me, and it only came up with like one thing. He had told me to, like, I couldn't draw, but he said, to the best of my ability, to draw the picture of like this girl. So I drew a picture of a girl, and then he handed it back to me when we were talking about the test that I had gone through. And he said, well, you've done something with your hands, because I had gone to a lot of detail and putting lace on the collar of her shirt and ruffles on the, um, on the skirt that I drew and high heels, but she had no hands. So he said, you've done something with your hands. Well, then he changed the subject, and immediately I knew what he was talking about. You see, on the day that my mother died, she was sort of in a semi-conscious state, and I was taking a spoon and trying to put some broth up to her lips, and she just sort of knocked my hand away, and I popped her hand, just sort of slapped her hand real quick and said, don't you know that I'm trying to help you? So immediately what that said to me is that I had killed my mother. Why did I believe that? Because she had told me when I was a real little girl, I remembered her saying, you are the reason that I'm alive. So what had happened is I popped her hand. I took away her reason for living. So that meant I killed my mother. Well, it took me a couple of years to decide that I truly had not killed my mother. But a few years later, I actually went through a lot of depression, and I thought about suicide. And that actually led me into a relationship with Jesus. And I spent a lot of time studying and praying, and started taking courses, which actually led me a few years later into graduating from the School of Ministry. A little bit more about my history is that I was born with asthma. So after 6 hospitalizations with severe asthma, I prayed and asked God, if there's anything that I don't know about, please bring it to me. Well, that started me on a natural health and wellness journey, and I started using essential oils. Excuse me. Well, later, maybe about 4 or 5 years ago, I learned about this aroma freedom technique. Well, that is actually what fused my entire life together, because it wrapped together and fused together all the counseling that I had done, my ministry, uh, going through the School of Ministry, my natural health journey, the learning how to use therapeutic grade essential oils for health, my desire and purpose of trying to help people with their dreams, and the people who thought they had lost their purpose and lost their way and they needed emotional healing. Well, being certified in aroma freedom technique actually um, fused all those together. So, to start this, I need to tell you 3 different facts about human nature so that you can get the gist of what I want to tell you. First of all, we're all designed to learn and to grow. Babies, they start crawling and they're experimenting with their environment. You see some younger kids here, and now they're starting school and they're learning how to interact with people, and they're learning about relationships, and maybe these people are not good for me to be friends with, especially the teenagers and the older ones. They're learning about relationships and learning about life. But now here's the thing. We learn a lot of things that's really not true. Like when we're going through all these different relationships and things like that, we learn things like all relationships are painful. Or maybe we might think we're learning that I'm not lovable. You see, all these things that we're learning, and there are thousands of them that we stuff down into our subconscious. You see, our conscious can't constantly think about all the things that we've learned, like how to tie our shoes, don't touch the stove, it's hot, don't be around these people, they're not good people to be around. So, all the things that we've learned, we'll call them inner rules. We've sort of stuffed them down in our subconscious mind, and so we're not aware of them anymore. But they limit all our later life. As you see the older people in this picture, they have learned so many different things, and now their life is sort of encircled around all those different things. I had a dog by the name of Joe. This looks like Joe. And you'll notice that Joe has on like a radio collar. Now, if you've never seen that before, it works like this. The radio collar, you can run to a certain point, and it's like a shock collar. When it gets to a certain point, that collar will vibrate and cause him some discomfort. So he learns that he can have fun all over the yard. But when he gets to this certain point on the perimeter of the yard, he can't go there. If he crosses that boundary, he gets hurt. So he learns that very quickly. And that's exactly what I'm talking about with us in life. We've learned a lot of things, but I first want to give you this example. Joe is having fun in the yard. He's just having a good time with his ball. But see the little pink trees in the background? You see, there's this cat that walks through the neighborhood. And so the cat walks between these two pink bushes. Well, here's Joe, and he sees the cat. Well, he's got this natural desire. He wants to run after the cat. But now he's learned I can't go past this point or it hurts. So now Joe is sort of in a quandary. He's learned not to go to a certain point or it's going to cause pain, but yet he has this desire to chase this thing. It's just all up in him. He just wants to chase this thing. So that's like our life. We want to have relationships, or we have goals. They might be personal or they might be business goals, but there seems to be something that's holding us back, but we don't really know what that is. So you have all these negative thoughts that hamper your ability to pursue your dreams. Now, we have heard speakers talk about this for years now. Things like, you say to yourself, I'm not good enough, or, oh, that's never going to work, or I don't have time, or I don't have the money. Well, okay, all those sounds like maybe true statements, right? But they're still negative thoughts. They're negative thoughts because they trigger a negative feeling inside of us. It may be true, maybe I don't have the money, but it's a negative thought because all of a sudden we have a negative emotion. So it's a negative thought. Now, a lot of these things we have pushed down, like I want to go on a date with somebody, but nobody really cares about me anyway. So why would I ask? Or, suppose I make a mistake and it don't work out. Well, we push all of these things down, but if you listen, you can hear these negative voices. So how do we actually overcome all these negative voices? Well, we can fight and say, the negative voice says, oh, you can't do that. And we say, oh, yes, I can. The voice says, no, you can't. So I can argue with myself, or I can just go outside and pet Joe, the dog, and pretend like I never even heard that negative voice. Or Or I can replace it with a good affirmation. Now, I use affirmations all the time. Like if I feel like I can't do something, I might say, I can do all things through Christ, which strengthens me. I can quote scriptures, or I can have good affirmations. But here's the thing, we're still fighting ourself. Whether we fight the negative thought, or we just ignore it and pet the dog, or we try positive emotions, we are still fighting ourselves. So, what does that actually mean? Let's start at Christmas. This doesn't look like a Christmas picture, but are you somebody that they call on to say the prayer before they have Christmas? Or are you the one that is expected? Maybe you're the person who owns the house and everybody is coming to stay with you or have the holidays with you. And you're the one that's supposed to maybe give a toast before the meal or after the meal or say something. Do you know public speaking is one of the worst fears ever? And it doesn't have to be that you're standing in front of a huge auditorium of people. It's just, you know, it's just something that you don't ordinarily do. So, what are the expectations for you at Christmas? Are you the one that has to cook the dinner? Are there family members that you're going to be around and you don't really like them, or you don't like their attitudes, or maybe there's family members that put certain expectations on you when there's, a gathering together? Do you feel overwhelmed or stressed, or you feel like maybe there's just not enough time to get everything done? Well, here we go. I'm going to tell you how to take care of this with an aroma reset technique. It takes about 60 seconds. And it was created by Dr. Benjamin Perkis. He was a licensed psychologist for over 25 years. At least 19 of those years, he's been using essential oils in his practice, and he sort of found that they enhanced the process and made everything work so much quicker. He found that out actually with his wife in trying to help her process something. Well, he is since 2016, there have been thousands of people who've benefited from his work of actually creating the aroma freedom technique. He now has certified probably over 1,000 people by now. He's a teacher, a trainer. He goes all over the world. The aroma reset technique is a variant of the aroma freedom technique. Now, aroma freedom technique is simply a 12-step simple process for identifying and releasing negative feelings, emotions that interfere with reaching our goals or our dreams. And we use Young Living essential oils because they can reset your mood, your emotion. They give you clarity. They can calm you down, give you focus. Well, just how important is the sense of smell? It's very powerful. It's very automatic. It's one of the very first things that was developed when you were actually in your mother's womb. It's connected to feelings of safety, comfort, joy. If there's an animal like a rabbit, I used to hunt with my family. A rabbit comes into the field and he's just nibbling away at the grass, and all of a sudden he takes off running. A few minutes later, here comes a dog. Well, that rabbit could smell that dog before he could actually see him. So the sense of smell is actually attached to our feelings, feelings as in emotions and safety. So if smell is tied to our survival, as I have just mentioned, how do we use it today? You open the refrigerator and, oh, something does not smell right. And you go, nope, there's bacteria in that food, and it goes in the trash. Or in nature, this is how animals know it's time to mate because there are just certain aromas that they have, or like the rabbit that I talked about that could actually smell something. Well, smell is connected directly to the brain. It's actually the only part of the brain that is almost attached to the outside world. You see, the olfactory nerve connects to the limbic portion of our brain, and the limbic portion of our brain, which is almost right here behind the eyes, sort of in the center of our brain, but right behind our eyes, it's connected to all our emotions. And it either it's has this little walnut shaped amygdala in there, and that causes us, you've probably heard of fight or flight, the parasympathetic sympathetic nervous system. You either feel like you need to run or freeze or fight, or you smell something that says, oh, I smell mama, I'm okay, I'm safe. So So, why do we get stuck? We encounter a situation that feels overwhelming, confusing, threatening, especially here at Christmas time. Our emotions are everywhere. Um, we get to the point where they just actually just lock up. So, the amygdala, as I said, it only has two functions: fight, flight, freeze, or it triggers um, emotions or smell. And it's all surrounded by the emotions. And that's why they have used incense for hundreds or thousand years in religious rituals, because and most of that is usually frankincense, because that aroma actually transports us out of the outside world where all the stress is, and we actually calm down, and we can hear the inner guidance that is shifting us to a relaxed state. It all has to do with smell or aromas. So, what exactly is the aroma reset process? Well, it's simply just a very little process where you take the negative, overwhelmed feelings that you have, or whatever kind of stress that you're going through at this present moment, and you can reset to a calm, relaxed state. So, are you ready to do this? All right. Well, first of all, we only use Young Living essential oils because it's the only company that has a seed to seal quality. In other words, this, we've already talked about the sense of smell goes directly to the brain. So you do not want to risk toxins in the brain. So the Young Living oils also have specific complex emotional oil blends. Now, what we're going to use for the aroma reset are three oils. Frankincense, which has been proven, I've already talked about that, is a very calming, relaxing oil. Most people are very familiar with lavender. It also is a calming, relaxing oil. And the a blend means more than one oil added together, is called Stress Away. And that is a combination of different oils and vanilla. And all those three together are very relaxing, calming emotions. And they actually calm down the control centers of the brain. It actually calms the amygdala, and all the receptors. I'm sorry, I had an itchy nose. All the receptors, like the receptors that are opiate receptors, um, receptors for serotonin, all of those dopamine receptors, those oils can settle in these grooves for those things and actually cause a sense of relaxation. And the reason why the Young Living oils is because we know they own their own farms and they have that very strict seed to seal guarantee that there are no additives put in them because we don't want to take the chance of having toxins in our brain. Okay, so actually, let's do this process. All right, so what situation are you going through right now in the present? It feels overwhelming, it's frustrating, it's confusing. There's just too many presents to buy. I don't have time to finish everything. There's not enough days left. I don't have enough money to do what I need to do. I've got people living in my house that's come for the holidays. My family and their family don't. There are so many different scenarios. So, what I want you to do right now, what is the situation that right now in the present seems totally overwhelming, frustrating, or confusing to you? Um, Type in like a one word into the chat box, like, what are you, what is that? Is it family or is it money? Now we want to find out when you think of that situation, what is the one word feeling that describes what you feel when you think about that situation? Do you get angry because I don't have enough money? Or are you scared because, in this day and age, everybody's scared of the virus and there's more people around? And whatever the situation is that you just thought about, what is the one word? Type in the chat box the one word feeling that you get when you think about this situation. Now, this might be completely new to you, but I want you to focus. If you have to close your eyes, scan your body, and where is that feeling located? If you felt very sad, you might notice that that sad is in your heart, or it might be this anger sensation, whatever you feel, and it feels like a gut punch and you feel it in your stomach. Where, if you have correctly listed the feeling word, you will be able to sense that somewhere in your body. Now, sometimes that might even look like a position, like you just might be all slumped over. Just notice, is it a place in your body or is it a slumped over or clenching your teeth, or you feel like your shoulders have tightened up? Where is that feeling in your body? Remember, I told you that you can actually hear those negative voices. What is the negative thought that you were thinking that came to you when you thought about that word? The examples are, well, I don't have time to get it done, or there's not enough money, or I'm just not smart enough to pull it off. You don't have to tell me what that is. Just type in the chat box, got it. I got it. I don't need to know the story. Okay, now here's where you get your oils. If you do not have the frankincense, lavender, and stress away, we would ordinarily put 1 drop of each of those in our hand and smell it. But if you do not have that, if you have any of the citrus oils like Citrus Fresh, or if you have lemon or orange, any of the citrus oils, put a drop of that in your hand. just sort of rub your hands together, cup your hands over your nose, and I want you to take big, slow, deep breaths. And I want you to focus on that situation, on that feeling, the part of your body where you felt it, and that negative thought. And I want you to breathe that for about 60 seconds, and you will begin to notice a change. Either a calming sensation or a different picture will come. Now, I'll tell you what was going on with me is I felt pretty sad because, you know, it just didn't seem like there was a lot of joy in my family and it felt sad. And so when I looked for the feeling word, I actually felt guilt because I thought the guilt was that I should have held the family together. And that's what the negative thought was, that I should have held the family together. And it felt in my heart that as I breathed in the frankincense and stress away and lavender, it just sort of got lighter. So here's two things that will happen. One, you'll get more relaxed, or you'll feel calmer, or your mood might just clear, or you might become aware that there are deeper issues that you might need to have some work done around those issues, like actually having a full aroma freedom technique, because that is a 12-step process where we go into a lot of deeper things to clear out all these negative memories and negative voices. Well, I'm going to tell you, I do feel better, but it just feels like, I don't know, it just feels incomplete. So I don't know how you're feeling, but I'll walk through again since this is new to you, and use my oil again. And I'm thinking of the current situation. It seems frustrating to me. And this might be a different situation now than just if that one worked through completely and you felt great and another one popped up, well, then we just need to go through this process again. So, what is the feeling attached to the situation? You can just type got it. You can type the word in there if you wish. Um, and scan your body. Where do you feel that this is in your body, that feeling word? Or is it a posture? And what is that negative voice saying? What is that negative thought surrounded by that feeling word in the process? And you can just type "got it" in the box. Okay, and here we go. Now we're going to breathe the oil into the situation that you just mentioned or thought about since we're on the screen. The feeling, the emotion, that feeling, where in the body you felt it, and that negative thought. Breathe the oil into all of that slowly and deeply and watch for the positive change. Well, I tell you, if I could describe what I was feeling, it's as if when you were a kid in school, I don't know how young you are, but we would wash the chalkboard at the end of the day, and that's how I felt like the chalkboard has just been washed completely clean, and it's all better. It just it's just nothing there anymore. So once again, you either become calm or more relaxed, or you clear your mood, or you realize maybe I need some help with the Aroma Freedom Technique. Uh, there's a book, The Aroma Freedom Technique. This is what Dr. Benjamin Perkins wrote. You don't have to be certified to get it. You can actually buy it. Learn this process for yourself because he wants you to be able, in fact, I want you to be able to help your family and your friends to be able to do this. If you want to actually become certified and build a business around this to be able to help people, you don't have to be a licensed counselor. It's remarkable how fast people can shift. So, as I said, these are Young Living oils. We want to make sure that you're using something that does not have any toxins in it. So, you can contact me and I can tell you how to actually get those oils at a wholesale price. If you need and feel like you want further information or to set up a session with me to actually do an aroma freedom technique, you can reach me at younglivinggail@gmail.com. You can find me on Facebook under Gail Williams. I'm on Instagram. Uh, I'm, I'm trying to find my mouse so I can stop sharing my screen for a second. um, I just want you to know, I want you to have peaceful, wonderful holidays. If you need to reach back, um, perhaps, let me say this. If you do not have any oils and you want a sample of this frankincense, lavender, and stress away that we actually mixed together, if you will reach out to me, I will send you, if you live in the United States, and I'm sorry that I have to put it like that, but for me to send it like to Africa cost almost $30. And if you don't have any other way to get it and you want to pay shipping, I will be glad to do that for you. But I will send you a sample. You just reach out to me and then you can actually do this process yourself. I actually have a mixture. I call this the memory release blend of frankincense, lavender, and stress away. And I keep that in my car because I have a lot of problems sometimes in the car with traffic. So I keep that in the car and just reach out. I will send you a sample. Get back with me. But I love you guys, and I want you to have a great and a wonderful holiday season. This is good, not just for holidays, but if you're doing homework or if you're in the car like me and you get upset sometimes with some people that aren't just driving the way that you would like them to, anything that has a tendency to upset you or get you, really out of kilter and out of sorts, you can use this very quick. It took a while now because I explained it to you, but when you're doing it yourself, in 60 seconds, you'll be finished. You'll be over all that emotion and you'll be on to knowing what you're supposed to do next. I love you guys. Have a great holiday season, and I look forward to seeing you next.